Hey guys, welcome to Star Wars and High. Thank you for stopping by. Today we're going to be talking about Yoda in the High Republic. So, if you guys remember, I think back in January, there's some controversy around, I guess, Yoda's role in the High Republic. And the general idea was that the writers of the High Republic were going to make it Yoda's fault that the Jedi eventually fall, right? That he established rules and conduct that kind of directly results in the turn of Anakin to Darth Vader, and obviously the rise of the Galactic Empire. So there's an updated article I want to talk about today. And I also want to look at some quotes, because what I find interesting about kind of people's response to the idea that Yoda could be responsible, what people will say is, oh, this is Disney crapping on old characters. They crapped on Luke. They're going to crap on Yoda as well. They want you to hate all the old characters like all the new characters. But I think the idea of Yoda being one of the reasons for the fall of the Jedi has been explored before. So let's take a look. Okay, so I want to show you guys a quote from Count Dooku that's taken from the Clone Wars novelization that was written back in 2008. Right down here, you'll see July 26, 2008. Let's take a look at it. This is from Count Dooku. It says, "The Jedi Order's problem is Yoda. No being can wield that kind of power for centuries without becoming complacent at best or corrupt at worst. He has no idea that it's overtaken him. He no longer sees all the little cumulative evils that the Republic tolerates and fosters, from slavery to endless wars, and he never asks, why are we not acting to stop this? Live alongside corruption for too long, and you no longer notice the stench." Okay, so this is back from 2008, guys. An idea that they had explored almost 13 years ago in July. So again, I think the idea that the High Republic is breaking new ground here, we're talking about ideas that have never been explored. Obviously, the Jedi were arrogant. That's what led to their downfall. The fact that they couldn't see the dark side. You'll see here as well, we got Qui-Gon Jinn talking about we became too rigid. I mean, this is a known thing. So I find it interesting that this is now some sort of controversy when it's been talked about before. Okay, let's take a look at this article from Pirates and Princesses. If you guys aren't familiar with this site, I've reacted to their content before. I see some other YouTube channels do it as well. They kind of have some speculation, rumor material. So I see a lot of channels take a look. This article came out yesterday. It's called "Star Wars High Republic Writer on How Yoda is a Revered Figure in Response to Fan Controversy." You can see my cursors here on this line. Let's read it. "Lucasfilm is again trying to promote and clarify the High Republic. Overall, the new initiative hasn't seemed to perform as well as shows like The Mandalorian, but considering the medium, it was likely never going to perform as well." Thank you for this, for just being honest here. It's something I've made on my point on the channel several times. A major streaming platform's premiere show, of course, is going to perform better than a series of books and comics. That's just the sign of the times. Marvel comics are not doing as well as Marvel movies. DC comics are not doing as well as DC movies. Even no matter how much you think DC movies might be flopping, as you guys know, I'm a huge DC fan, they're doing better than the comics. So this goes to what I said in the intro. Given the, quote, reverence they showed classic Star Wars characters like Luke Skywalker and Admiral Akbar in the sequel trilogy, it's understandable why fans might have some concerns. And that's fair. I mean, they didn't treat those characters great in a lot of our estimations, and we're entitled to those opinions. So it says, now High Republic comic writer Cavan Scott is decided to clear up the misconceptions with the Comic Book Nation podcast. So it goes on here to give us some background of when Yoda appeared back in The Empire Strikes Back and how loved he was, and how we saw him in the prequels fighting toe-to-toe before having to go into hiding. Coming into the new High Republic reading material, Yoda is seen 200 years before the prequel trilogy. The issue that seems to be making fans fear that they are treating Yoda like Luke was treated in The Last Jedi is this idea that he was the one who made personal attachments wrong, leading to what happened to turn Anakin into Darth Vader and making Yoda ultimately responsible for all the fall of the Jedi. The implication fans are taking issue with is that before Yoda was Grand Master, the Jedi had more freedom, but his control caused them to become corrupt, at least according to the Screen Rant article that seemed to create further fan backlash. Quote, "The Order allowed attachment, so they didn't encourage them. They were almost completely apolitical, and they stressed the importance of individuality, with each Jedi defining the Force and their connection to it differently. Yoda's personal philosophies and definition of the Force gradually became the standard accepted truth of the Jedi Order during his time as Grand Master, leading to the Jedi Order of the prequel trilogy. Yoda's Jedi Order was corrupt, complacent, and emotionally unhealthy, which was unfortunately exactly what the Sith needed to enact Revenge of the Galaxy. Again, going to the quote I read at the beginning of this video, I kind of thought that was always the point. The Jedi were being arrogant. And now, I guess fans are upset because it's all on Yoda as opposed to the Jedi as a whole. But obviously it would be on the Jedi as a whole because there's a council and more. If they all just kind of fell under Yoda's personal beliefs, that would make sense. I don't think that's that controversial. The Jedi fell, and it was partially their fault. Now Scott is trying to clarify their stance and what seems like damage control to assure fans they are doing respect to Yoda. But a lot of fans are wary due to previous, quote, respect shown to other beloved characters. I can't really blame the old school fans, and not much has happened to prove that Lucasfilm respects much of George Lucas's Star Wars. Even the Star Wars account on Twitter wouldn't wish Darth Vader actor a happy birthday. Fans have spent weeks pointing out the oversight, and it just talks about more other unrelated drama that you guys have heard about. Cavan Scott is now trying to clarify that the High Republic writers aren't trying to be disrespectful to Yoda. Here's his direct quote. So yeah, there's been a lot of discussion about Yoda online and Yoda's part in the High Republic and the sense that Yoda is somehow to blame for what happened. But I don't think we ever said that, and I don't think we've ever would because it's not what we believe. We spent a lot of time talking about Yoda. Yoda's cast a very long shadow for such a small being, and every time Yoda's in a scene, he's the most important person in that scene. So we've been very careful on how we treated Yoda and tried to be very respectful. Okay. So going on, it says, Yoda is in a slightly different position in the High Republic. He is on the council, but decided to take a bit of a sabbatical from that and is teaching Padawans, which is what we know he loves doing, and we do see that in the comics. So there's also a sense that when Yoda isn't there, the rest of the Jedi we've created, are going, I wish Yoda was here, because they all still look to him, and there's familiarity with him and Yoda because he's the peer. He's their peer in a lot of ways, and he is kind of, going on these missions, which is fun to see. But he's still also a master. He's more trained in some way or another than most of these people because, let's face it, even though he's in the High Republic, and we keep talking about, quote, young Yoda, he's still quite old, and he's been around for a very long time. The article goes on to say, it says I haven't read the new material. I'm likely not going to, given the personal attacks I faced over not liking the Disney sequel trilogy. I want to believe they're learning some lessons and trying to undo damage, but for every, we're misunderstood interview we hear, we also get things like fans being attacked from happy to see Luke Skywalker, Cara Dune canceled, etc. Okay, so that's the article. That's the quote. Let me just kind of wrap this up. So just a note I want to say on the Pirates and Princess article we looked at, there's a quote from Screen Rant, and I went to that article. I've linked it down below. In that article, there's no direct quote referring to a writer of the High Republic. I think it's Screen Rant's assumption based on what they know about the era and what they know about the Jedi. So you guys correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think any author specifically said that. That might have been implied in the conversations they maybe had with Screen Rant or whatever. But let's pretend it was. Let's say that exactly is the High Republic's goal, to say that Yoda and the Jedi's kind of strict ways of using the Force led to their downfall. I don't think that's something that out of the realm of what we've expected, and I think we've experienced it, and they've experimented it with before. Even in the Clone Wars, when Count Dooku was talking to Obi-Wan in his interrogation scene, he alludes to the problem with the Jedi. I don't know. I don't think this is that radical of an idea. I think, again, if you see this article, you don't know anything about the High Republic, you'll probably think like, oh, in the books, they're also just talking about how dumb Yoda is and how bad he is, when Yoda is barely in the content we have so far, as opposed to the two kids comics. That's really all he's in, and in there he's just hanging out with the kids on missions. He's like a fun Yoda. I don't know, but this is something I thought I would talk about. I want to know what you guys think. Are they ruining Yoda's legacy, or is this kind of overblown? I mean, we'll see. If he's in more books and they totally butcher him, I'll be sure to talk about that then. But for me, I think this is trying to make something out of nothing. So let me know what you guys think down below. Make sure you like and subscribe. We'll be back very soon. Appreciate all the support, guys. We'll see you later.